How are you?
Hello, I'm fantastic, Dr. J. How are
Thank
you?
you. It's my wife, Doris.
Nice to meet you, Doris.
All
I'm a
right.
Philadelphia native, and we
Oh,
love you
okay,
at
great.
home. How are you tonight?
We're good. We're good.
So we're celebrating 70 years of African Americans in television, in film, in comedy. Talk to me a little bit about the first time you saw African Americans on television and what resonated with you.
Well, I was fortunate enough to be old enough uh, to see the Little Rascals and see, Buckwheat and Stymie. And I saw Amos and Andy. Uh, you know, the Amos and Andy series, which I just recently got all the tapes. Yeah, it was like 26 shows, and I got all those from a friend. And I used to watch, and I used to think, there were some things I liked about it and some things I didn't like about it. From a stereotypical standpoint, there were things that we said, okay, that's not going to be me. And obviously Andy was the cab driver, so he was pretty cool, and Mr. Brown was a little buffoonish, and Kingfish was Kingfish.
In
So
terms of, you're a man of the 70s, okay?
60s and
The
70s.
60s and 70s.
Yeah.
But when I think about television in the 1970s and some of the sitcoms that were on, we had Norman Lear who had introduced Good Times. What are your thoughts on that sort of narrative in early television in the well, not early, but kind of early still
Yeah.
for situation comedy?
Yeah, I think Good Times represented, Chicago, the projects in Chicago, the lifestyle there, and like the Jeffersons were New York, and they were somewhat stereotypical, but they were really funny. I mean, we had our moments in which we laughed, and they weren't inspirational in terms of saying, I want to be that guy. Like now you will see some shows, and the doctors and the lawyers and the detectives, and you might say, yeah, I wouldn't mind being that guy because that guy is pretty cool. But the earlier shows were just people who were in our neighborhood, and people who were brought into our lives to amuse us, while at the same time, they were dealing with their struggles, their family struggle, as well as their employment struggle, as well as their cultural struggle. So, so TV has played varying roles throughout the decades, and now it's gotten us to a point where we don't look at TV to educate us. We look at TV to entertain us.
Well, you know what? That's a very
Our
interesting
kids might be
dialogue
looking
there.
at it and getting an education.
Well, we hope so. I mean,
Yeah.
that's when we think about the Cosbys in the 1980s. Dr. Cosby,
Now you got
his
the
whole
Andersons. I mean,
right.
You got Blackish on, which my 9-year-old daughter loves. And
What's your favorite show that's on today? I mean, you have Empire, we have Blackish, we have Scandal, we have How to Get Away with Murder.
right.
Your all-time favorite show that's on television right now.
Favorite show.
What's his favorite show?
Criminal Minds.
Oh, Criminal Minds.
Yeah. But now I've been kind of the Blacklist has been good, and House of Cards. So I've been doing a little more Netflix than regular TV. And
Netflix is a game changer.
Yeah, Netflix is a game changer. So I'm kind of hooked on Netflix, and House. The best thing I've seen, has probably been House of Cards. Yeah, seen all those seasons.
Favorite basketball player today?
Tim Duncan is my man, and Father Time I think is probably caught up with him, so I'm gonna move over to Kevin Durant. But Duncan is first.
Well, thank you so much for your time.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
Nice to see you. You look
Likewise. Thank you.
All right.
Likewise.
So long.
See you.
So, BET,
Yes.
35 years
I
of
know.
excellence.
Yes, very exciting. Very
You should
exciting.
be. I wanted to ask you, television, who are some of your early inspirations that help navigate and kind of mold your path in this industry?
Oh, in this industry, I thought you were going to ask me on television. That's a whole different thing. But I grew up on television, and when I look back at my history, I used to always get that TV guide and for the fall season and see how many black actors were in there, and were there any black shows. And now I do that for a living, so it's really quite something. But there's so many shows when you look back on the history of African Americans in TV, from Flip Wilson to Diane Carroll and Julia, to watching the Supremes and Temptations and Jackson 5 on Ed Sullivan. I mean, back in those days, we used to call each other when somebody of color was on television. It was like, look, Melba Moore is on TV. Look, Flip Wilson's on TV. So it's really terrific that the Paley Center is recognizing this long history. But there's still more work that needs to be done.
This year is the 40th anniversary of Mahogany. Diana Ross in Mahogany. Yeah. First time you saw Diana Ross on television doing her thing. I know you remember.
Oh, I do. I remember her with the Supremes and how elegant they were, and the bouffant wigs and the beautiful gowns, and oh yeah, I remember it all. And they were such role models. I mean, I wanted to grow up to be one of the Supremes. I used to play their 45s in my little room in North Carolina. So great inspiration. And Diana Ross is amazing still today. And look at her daughter, Tracy Ross.
I can't wait to chat with her. So if there were to be a remake of Mahogany today, talk to me about who you would love to see in the role of Tracy.
Tracy?
Tracy, that was the name of Diana's character in Mahogany. Yes, it was. It sure was.
She named her daughter that. Isn't that something? Well, it just so happens that Gabrielle is a few steps behind me. I think she would be pretty amazing.
I think she would be great.
She would be great. She has that stature and could wear those dresses.
And in the role of Billy Dee's character?
Oh, who would that be today? Wow. Who would? I think Omar Epps. Not Omar Epps, Omar Hardwick.
That's a nice look. That's a nice look.
Yeah.
That's a nice
Yeah.
look. Well, thank you.
Of course, they were hot together in Being Mary Jane, so I would love to see them come back.
Being Mary Jane
Yeah.
has just been amazing. What's next for Being Mary Jane?
Ooh, there's a lot going on. I can't give away the surprises, but next season there's going to be a lot of action moments, a lot of changes.
Well, thank you so much for your time, Deborah Lee. We appreciate everything that you've done for us. Continue blessings and success.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Very nice.